A quick programming note. I originally said we'd be discussing Brute Bonnet this week, but then I realised I haven't done the episode on Amogus yet, so we'll hold off until then. I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Flutter. Japan has a lot of ghost stories, like any country with a long history. Japan's ghosts, or yurei, often fall into one of two tropes: a decapitated head which, though disembodied, seeks revenge on the living, or a waif-like woman with long hair that drapes over her head. The cultural origins of these are obvious. Samurai warfare was obsessed with the taking of heads as a show of whom one had slain, and women were never seen in public with their hair down until they died. Misdreavus was a Pokemon which captured these ghostly concepts well in one Pokemon, though it was somewhat tame in its depiction. Misdreavus had a head of hair, but in some ghost stories and yokai, these ladies have an enormous mess of hair, stretching out in serpent-like tendrils and performing mischief. Enter Fluttermane, a Paradox Pokemon found in Area 0 in Pokemon Scarlet. It combines the decapitated head aesthetic of ghosts like Rokurokubi with the long magical hair of yokai like Futakuchi Onna. Similarly, it combines Misdreavus ghost type with a new fairy type. Fluttermane's hair extends back in such a way as to resemble a pair of wings, and along the top of its head it has a row of red spikes. In many ways, it actually looks more like a straightforward evolution of Misdreavus than the witch-like Mismagius did. Pokemon Scarlet tells us, "This Pokemon has characteristics similar to those of Fluttermane, a creature mentioned in a certain book." Which is, useless. While Pokemon Violet tells us, "It has similar features to a ghostly pterosaur that was covered in a paranormal magazine, but the two have little else in common." We can at least find and read this magazine. In an issue of Occulture we find this article: Enigmas of Paldea, File Number 5. Fluttermane, a ghostly pterosaur? Fluttermane, a name taken from a strange creature with a matching description appearing in the Scarlet Book, is said to float around the sky at night with its long hair writhing about it. Eyewitness accounts describe it as resembling a giant Misdreavus at first glance, albeit a highly fierce and aggressive one. Some believe that it's a ghost of a pterosaur from a long-gone era. It died a long time ago and it kind of has wings, so I guess this could be the ghost of a pterosaur? That, I guess, is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. Fluttermane may not look much like a pterosaur, but it does have monstrous powers. Its stats are incredibly low in attack, defense, and HP, but its special stats and speed are outrageously high, and its ghost and fairy typings limit its weaknesses, giving it a prominent role in the competitive scene, tearing through whole teams with dazzling gleams and the like. Long-time listeners will know I'm never shy about banging on about Japanese mythology and history, and here was another perfect excuse of a Pokemon. Music for Luke Loves Pokemon is composed by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork for the show is by Katie Groves. Fluttermane was designed by Hitoshi Ariga. Writing, producing, and editing is by me, Luke Summerhays, while funding is provided by lovely listeners at patreon.com/podcastio-podcastius. Next up are Sandy Shocks and Iron Treads, so if you have thoughts about those or any other monsters, hit me up with a DM or an email to lukelovespkmn@gmail.com. If you like this podcast, please rate and review wherever you're listening, or tell a friend. If you want to hear more Pokemon chatter from me, come by twitch.tv/lukelovespkmn most Saturday nights from 9 PM UK time. Even if you don't feel like doing any of that, thank you so much just for listening. I love Fluttermane. And remember, I love you too.